Hello and welcome back to another episode of playing MotoGP 23 online. And of course, I'm going to do, as I always do, some 3-lap races and just show the highlights of each. So I hope you do enjoy. So here we are then on the grid. We're actually here at Brno for the first race of this video. So it's nice to do a historic track every now and again. But there we go, the lights are on, waiting for them to go here at the Czech Grand Prix. I've been waiting quite a while, but the lights out, away we go. We've had a pretty decent start, actually. Those Yamahas on the front row haven't had a very good start. Carlitos has had a pretty good start there, up into the lead. This is continuing on from the last online video that we did, the same lobby, so you will recognise some of the faces. But we did a bit of an aggressive dive bomb, a little bit of contact on the way into turn 1 there to get up into 3rd place. And here we go. There's two riders really forcing each other out there. I don't know, Giulito Campione has really pushed Carlitos onto the green there, and it's actually re-overtaken him into turn 3. So maybe we've got a rival here for Carlitos because Aki actually just left the session. So we do need someone to try and take it to Carlitos being such a fast rider. And here we go. I'm assuming these two are both Spanish based on the names. So maybe they are two very, very fast Spaniards trying to get the better of each other. And that's a dive bomb and a half into turn 5. There's no way of them pulling that one down. So I just get to spectate, which is always lovely. It's a bit weird seeing Brno with all the old sponsorship because, of course, in the previous games where it was present, aside from actually MotoGP 22, so I guess it is carried over from that game, it had all its modern-day sponsorship, like Monster Energy and stuff like that, from like when it still hosted races back in 2020. But this is obviously from the 2009 mode. It's got the 09 sponsors around the circuit. We've had a pretty rough sector to the track there, to be honest. We've allowed the two in front to get away and Fadlaw to close up to us behind. Here comes Fadlaw at the inside, KTM on KTM into the penultimate turn. He's run a little bit wide. Can we try and gas it back up the inside of him? Not going to quite be able to do it, but can we try and get the flowing line through the last corner again to try and pick up the power? I think we have done. Zuface left us plenty of space, although now, again, back on the power, just like he did in India, having that supreme straight line speed. But there we go, we've got the straight line speed now. Maybe there's a bit of a side slipstream in this game, so we definitely picked something up there. There's a crash for one of the riders there. I think it was the Pramac Ducati, and Fadlaw trying to get the inside through turn 1, a little bit of touching there. And he's now gone down, so I don't know if I played any part in that. I hope I didn't. Unless there's a bit of lag, or it looked like he maybe got tagged by the rider behind. But we're open to 2nd position now. Big mistake there for Carlitos. So, not looking quite as imperious as he did at Jerez. He obviously only dominated Jerez. In Chang, he had a bit of a crash in the last video. Those are 2 races from the last one. And here, he's not quite pulling away as much as I'd expect. So maybe we could take the fight to him here, outside of the Spanish circuits. Oh, and he's made a mistake. He's down at the penultimate turn, so we've taken the lead here as we're about to start the final lap of the race. So we've kept the pressure on Carlitos, and down he goes. So here we go then. Can we just keep it on board and do a decent lap on this final lap? And that should be enough for us to win the race, take our first win of the video in our first race. But I must say on that lap, I was really enjoying the circuit. I really hate that Brno's not on the calendar anymore because it's such a good circuit. There's so many terrible, well, not so many, but there's some terrible circuits on the calendar. And Brno is just so much better. So here we are then, through the final turn. We're going to take a win here at Brno. A fantastic race because we really won that one on pure pace. We forced them into mistakes. That was really enjoyable. And like I said, Brno is such a pleasure to ride. So there's a guy behind that was really, really fast. A 51 dead for the guy in 3rd place. So good job. He had a terrible race or whatever happened to him because we wouldn't have even got close to him. But to be fair, we're only a few steps off Carlitos. So our pace was actually really good at Brno there. So we're here then at Misano for this second race. I actually played as Bezecchi in this one, so really it is quite fitting to be a VR46 rider and bike at the VR46 home circuit. But here we are then, the lights are on, waiting for them to go out. Can we get a good start on this Ducati? They're holding for an eternity. Someone jumped the start there. That guy on the Pramac definitely jumped the start, unless it was a little bit of lag, but he definitely sort of went and then stopped. The one thing that is weird about the jump starts on this game and all the MotoGP games is they don't actually let them take advantage of it. You jump it by a millimetre and then that's it. Whereas, to be fair, if you're going to jump the start, you may as well go all in. There's been a couple of crashes there, 2 Yamahas together on the outside. But to be fair, our start has not been too good because of all the chaos that sort of happened into turn 1. Some more chaos through Rio there. C-Nut pushed onto the inside, and we're now on the inside of C-Nut. We've been touched by him a little bit then. Somehow, we've actually stayed on the bike. I think in the previous games we might have crashed from that one. Again, riders all over the... Well, I was about to say all over the circuit, but they're not on the circuit. That's the problem. They're all over the place, but they're not on the circuit. We're trying to go on the outside of Blade King now. It wasn't actually intentional, but it seems like... Well, actually, we haven't pulled it off. We pretty much did. We should get him on the run to Tremonto, though. We've got the better exit. So there we go. We sort of went around the outside, then up the inside of Blade King, up into 4th place. Then sports car in front of us with a sports car with a K. That is, of course. And then we've got two, once again, very fast people, Giulietto and that Andy guy that did like the 1 minute 51 or whatever it was in Brno. But to be fair, Blake King's come back at us and we've just absolutely cut Cavone there. That was absolutely awful. But Blake King come back at us on the run into Cavone, so fair enough. Fair play to him, but he's going to go off the circuit here, so we should get the run down towards Caro. Back up into P4. Sports car made a little bit of a mistake through some of those right-handers, so he might be a bit vulnerable to an overtake. But you can see the front two already check it out here at Misano. It's always the standard European-y circuits that the fast guys really go well at. You see, obviously, like a track like Brno, which doesn't get played so much, that obviously we know very well from the previous games, we can put the pressure on and we can actually force them into a mistake. But a track like this, nothing you can do. The sports car goes off, so we're now up into P3, provided he doesn't rejoin the track in front of us, which he isn't going to. In fairness, he's rejoined in a very good manner there, a few tenths behind us, so he's going to still be a threat because he was looking fairly quick. But we're up into the P3 now, 5 seconds off the leaders, so that's absolutely unbelievable. Like I said, at the tracks where, you know, it's the European circuits, they all play them all the time, they know them really well, they really do pull away. And there's a crash for one of the leaders, but I'm sure we're going to rejoin behind him just because you don't lose enough time when you crash in this game. He's rejoined the circuit. Actually, to be fair, we have got in front of him because of how fast the corner was. It took him a while to rejoin. Now, I imagine there was contact because the other guy is now waiting up, which has promoted us up into the lead of the race. I know it's a little bit lame to sort of get let through that way, but of course he's trying to wait up for the guy who's knocked off, and that's nothing to do with me, what's happened there. So somehow, despite the fact that we are miles slower than these guys, we've ended up leading the race coming onto the last lap here. Another crash for the guy in third place, so to be fair, provided we don't get knocked off here or crash ourselves, a second place is definitely on the cards. But of course, we've got to try and go for the win once again here against Giulietto Campione. And here he goes up the inside, no quarter given there. He had a bit of a rub on the way in there on the fairing, but fair enough, he's pulled that one down. You can tell when they are a proper pro rider. I mean, I know a lot of the lap time probably comes in the setups, but also the way that you actually ride the game is really, like, strange, but the pros do it in such a good way. I mean, look at the lines he's taking. It's curb to curb. It is beautiful, but it's just the way you have to ride the game is so bizarre and so over the limit. I just can't do it, but fair play to riders that fast because I really do have some respect for them. And whilst, of course, there was a little bit of a touch on the way into the Rio corner there, he seems pretty clean. So here we are then, up towards the line. It's going to be P2 here, so a first and a second so far from this session, so a pretty good start to the video. A 27.8 was his fastest lap. That's absolutely unbelievable. We didn't stand a chance with that one, but to be fair, we were pretty much quicker than everybody behind, obviously aside from the other guy that was really, really fast and crashed. Pretty much on pace with Bonique as well, so we did deserve a podium there. We didn't just inherit it through luck. So here we are then at the Sachsenring. We are playing as Fabio Quartararo in this one, so we're in the middle of the second row, so pretty good for a Yamaha in 2023, but the lights are on then, waiting for them to get here for a race at Sachsenring. Lights out and away we go. To be honest, the reaction time pretty poor there from myself. I was expecting the lights to hold a bit longer. They seem to hold quite a lot on this game, quite regularly, and that time they actually didn't hold too much. There's been a crash at the first corner already at the inside of an RNF Aprilia, but stuck on the curb a little bit there. Had to Ducati try and swoop around the outside, hit us a little bit there. We might have to get back up the inside, but it is probably a bit risky, and again they've managed to hit us. I'm not sure how they've managed to do that one. I think a bit of lag potentially involved in that one, but we've been shuffled down to 7th place. So we started 5th, down to 7th, so we lost 2 places, and there's been a crash at the first corner as well, so we probably lost about 3 in reality. So not the ideal start, especially at Sachsenring when it's not the most easy track to overtake people, although I guess in online lobbies it's always relatively easy to overtake because people have massive pace gaps and also make a lot of mistakes. And speaking of mistakes, Mile Kilo, the Ducati that's rammed us twice, has just taken out a Yamaha, and that's given us 2 free spots. So we're back up to where we started in 5th place. I can see the podium just up the road, so podium is definitely still on the cards here at Sachsenring. Although we've got C-Nut behind us, and C-Nut definitely seems to swap from track to track how quick he is. Seems to be pretty rapid at some other ones. Lance Lyon in 3rd place there. Not seen him since Mugello, if like the previous video. Battled him for 3rd place there, so it's not actually going to be too easy. He's pretty fast, although he's made a big mistake there. Through the grass he goes. We should get the run on him. We're going to leave him a bit of space to rejoin, because it is the courteous thing to do, and to be honest, it looked like he was just going to rejoin in front of us if we didn't do that anyway. We're up to P4 now then. The podium is definitely within reach, and somehow we've managed to stand the bike there, because the bike really had a bit of a shake there into turn 1 after we hit the brakes. So we've got a Turkish rider in front of us here in P3 on the RNF Aprilia. Made a bit of a mistake there though, a bit too early on the throttle. It could allow us to be vulnerable to the Pramac Ducati behind, but to be honest, we're not turning too well. Considering we're on a Yamaha, the bike is not particularly turning through these corners. You think it would naturally turn, although I suppose it's balanced performance, but even still, the other bikes that I've done so far in the other races seem like they maybe turn a bit better than this. Maybe it's just a bit of a placebo thing, especially with it being such long corners that I do tend to struggle with a little bit. But down the waterfall then, trying to close up as much as I can to the rider in front, but we're under attack surely from the rider behind as well, the Ducati, because he's literally the same distance we are from the rider ahead of us. So if we make any mistake trying to make a pass here, we're straight down to P5. The two leaders, once again, absolutely dominating at this circuit, so in fairness, they can do it here as well as at other circuits. We've had a really good run out of there. Don't know how we pulled that pass off. That was a bit unexpected. But we're up into P3 now. Then we passed the Turkish rider out of the last corner. He seemed to just get a really bad run. It was almost like Bagnaia and Martin yesterday, where obviously Bagnaia hit Martin at the back with the good exit he had. Of course, we were a bit wider through the corner, a bit later through the corner, so it made it a bit easier. But somehow, we're actually sort of right at the inside there, really, really close. We've got the position, so can we try and just pull away from it a little bit just to keep the gap? But no, he's come straight back at us, to be fair, through that section. So clearly is better through that section of the track than us. And we're going to try and get back up the inside to return 6. Can we beat him down towards 7? He's left us room, to be fair, but we're just not going to be able to stick it at the inside there. We could have an attack into 8, but that would be a bit too risky, to be honest. I'm actually quite surprised the way he re-overtook us there, because I felt like we were quicker than him on the previous lap, and then the way we overtook him was a bit unexpected as well. Whoa! So it seems to be this fast section of the circuit where he's struggling a little bit down the waterfall. Can we do the Jorge Martin pass down towards the Saxon curve? On the inside we go. Fabio goes up into P3. Can he get it stopped? He can. A little bit of contact there, but can we try and drive to the last corner? It doesn't look like we can. So again, we're going to try and set this up for the exit, but he's made a big mistake. So through the last corner, then we should have this one. He made a massive mistake on the entry there, completely cost himself. And there we go, it is P3 at the line, but a massive crash as well. So a lovely battle there down to the last corner with Edge Turkus. A fair play, very clean rider as well. Good, enjoyable battle. And our pace was actually really good because we were only a 10th off of Giuliotto Champion in front of us. So in fairness, we closed the gap a lot to him in this race. So we're here at Sepang then. Jonas Folger on a Ducati on pole position there with the 94, the same font as him as well. But we're here at my favourite track. Can we try and get a win here? But the lights are on, waiting for them to go out here for Malaysia. Lights out and away we go. And wow, we had an absolutely terrible start for some reason. There's a yellow flag already, so it seems like there's been a crash behind. I'm not sure what happened there. The bike just spun up off the line. I had the traction control on max. Usually it happens when you have the traction control down, so not particularly sure what happened there, but seems like half the grid has missed turn 1 there. There's a couple of crashes as well, and somehow we've actually come out of turn 1 in, well, we were P5 briefly there. We've been hit by a crashed bike. Somehow we've stayed on. It's absolute chaos here. We're down to P6. We were very briefly back up to about 3rd place through part of turn 1 there, because the amount of people that missed turn 1 and went wide. Carlitos in front of us, so a fast rider ahead of us. Edge Turka there as well. Again, we know he's pretty fast from the last race at Sachsenring. And Deepo Akbar leading the race. Oh, Carlitos is down. We almost hit into the back of him because I was looking at the graphics and actually, well, not hit into the back of him, hit his crashed bike, but don't know how good Deepo Akbar is because he was spectating in the last race. He was making a bit of a nuisance of himself, actually shouting a lot of stuff down the mic. Can we try and get our nemesis from Sachsenring, try and make a pass on him, because then Cnut's ahead of him, who again is someone that we have been generally quicker than in this lobby so far. And up the inside we go, into the hairpin, my favourite passing spot on the circuit, really. And to be fair, we've actually passed him quite easily there. I'm surprised. I would have thought it'd be a bit harder to outbrake him, but I usually am pretty good into that hairpin. I mean, I suppose, like I said, it's my favourite track, probably my best track as well, so probably going to have a little bit of an advantage. One that we've done a decent amount of running on, especially on the Ducati as well, if you remember back to the first impressions video, although we did make a bit of a mistake through there, so we're not perfect, of course. Oh! Wow, okay, we had a pretty bad screen freeze there, which has definitely affected the game, and we've been obviously lagged back and absolutely taken out by someone, so that's our race pretty much over there. Also going to have to try and realign the audio on the recording, which is always the most fun thing to do. We've been hit. Okay, well that time, what excuse has that guy got? Because I was braking probably a bit late myself and he still hit me off. So the race has gone from potentially fighting for a victory here to back down to 12th place. Should be back up to 11th pretty quickly though. We've got to blast past this guy. So up into 11th once again now then, and we've been taken out. What a disaster. To be fair, it's not the fault of the guy where I lagged back into him, but the other guy, don't know what he was doing, because obviously completely missed his braking point. Probably didn't mean to do it on purpose, but just completely wiped us out, and that was really, really affected our race. Crash there for Bonick. There's a bit of a pack of riders in front of us, about 4 riders, so it's maybe about to 6th in front, so there's some chaos. We could maybe get a top 6 still. There's a rider down already, and I'm almost going to go down with him. There we go then. Oh, it's Carlitos again, so he's probably going to be pretty quick. We're up to P9, so still that fight for 6th place going on in front of us. And one of them's down. Blade King down on the Yamaha. That puts us up into 7th, sorry, 8th place. So 7th and 6th are just ahead of us now. Another rider down, although I've almost crashed on the curb as well. It's very easy to crash on that curb, so we're now up into 7th place. I'm actually correct with it this time. And it's Mile Kilo in front of us on another factory Ducati. So we've got 1 lap to go here then. Can we make any progress? I don't think so, because this Mile Kilo does seem pretty fast, in fairness, and we've been making a lot of mistakes. 157 there on that lap. So that really does show the amount of progress we've made compared to when I first started playing this game, because I couldn't even break the 2-minute barrier in my first impressions video. So we found like 3 seconds of this circuit, which is unbelievable. And I'm down. I've made a mistake. So literally as I was sort of applauding myself for improving, we make a bit of a rookie error. You can see the right side of the tyre there was red, so that was probably part of it. We're now down to P8 behind Daniel Eviola, 46. I don't know exactly how that'd be pronounced, but maybe we can still try re-attacking before 7th place. A crash from Mile Kilo in front, so actually we would have been in a position to pick up that P6 if we hadn't had a crash. In fact, I think we still... Oh, no, we've hit this guy. Sorry, Daniel. I'm going to obviously just give him that position there because I completely did that one wrong. Completely hit him at the back. I got sucked in by the slipstream. To be fair, I pretty much pulled it down. And even with me hitting him, he ended up a bit wide. But I think I was going to miss my braking point anyway. It was just, obviously, I've gone in a little bit too hot. Had the slipstream from him as well. And we did just make a bit of a mistake. The front tyre does seem to be crying enough as well. So that could be part of it. So P6 is still on the cards here as we go through the penultimate turn. Try not to lose the front. Try not to screen freeze out of here, hopefully. Although, to be fair, I can't really control that one. Gonna try and get the slipstream on him down towards the last corner, but to be fair, nothing we are going to be able to do enough but to dive bomb him from that far back. So I think, to be fair, Daniel might have this one unless we can try and square him off through the last corner. He's a bit wide. We're trying to get the inside of him, try and put the power on as much as possible. Bit of ride-out device maybe, but no, he just pulled away from me. In fact, to be honest, the ride-out device probably made us a bit slow. But 7th place then at Sepang, a bit of a disaster if I'm honest. So pretty much was like Sachsenring, all the Ducatis in the top like 10, and then just one KTM solitary in there, obviously the rider that we were battling with. So pretty realistic game there, but you can see pretty much everyone on the Ducati in the lobby. Just shows how good that bike really is. So we're here once again at Misano. It's been picked by the lobby once again, so apologies for doing the same race twice in one video, but not much I can do about that one. This time we are Aleix, starting a bit further back on the grid, so let's see how it does pan out here at Misano. Lights out, away we go. To tell you what, we did have a good start at the time. Maybe it was a borderline jump start, to be fair, but at least a much better beginning to the race than Malaysia, and we've already been hit by Ducati, but there's a massive pile up into turn 1, and we've come out of that in 3rd place, so it's 4th place, should I say. A couple of riders still cutting the corners though, so we are dropping a little bit further back. Up these side we go, Blade King again, just try and get ahead of it. There's a KTM there, a tie rider by the looks of it, based on the characters in the name. And we're up into P5. There's 4 Ducatis all squabbling over like one piece of tarmac here. And Aprilia just trying to hang in the back. I failed to track them his warning, but to be fair, I got dragged onto the inside by Mile Kilo there. There wasn't much I could do about it at all. Had to go on the green again just to try and avoid him. He really didn't want me to pull alongside him, did he? And we've both gone massively wide into here. Mainly because, I mean, he was putting us on the green down the straight, so there wasn't much we could do. Rejoin the track, side by side with Blade King. We have just managed to move back ahead of him. To back up into P5. He's hit us at the back there. We're lucky to stay on from that one. It looks like he stayed on too, so he's probably even luckier than us because he'd have had a lot more on his front end. Usually it is obviously the guy behind that comes off worse in MotoGP to stop you from ramming people at the back. But there we go then. Mile Kilo goes down. Somebody else down as well. And Blade King again, just like he did in the other race, up the inside through the right-handers, although that time he completely butchered them and just cut the corner. We've got back up the inside through Cara. He's going to try and get us back. This time we have managed to stay in front. Now, just to clarify what I meant about in this game, to stop you ramming people off, the guy behind always comes off worse. There is just a mechanism in the game. I know in real life, obviously, usually the front tyre comes off worse, and obviously that is realistic, but if you brake check someone, for example, they usually fall off. It's to stop people ramming each other off. But there's a proper good battle going on. Well, I wouldn't say maybe good, but there's a proper battle going on between these two in front. I don't know if they're really staying on the track particularly. It looks like they are going quite a bit on the green, but a pretty aggressive battle going on with these Ducatis. So maybe we could take advantage of it if they hold each other up too much, because they were way quicker than us in the last race. And obviously, if you remember back to the last time we played Misano, we got absolutely gapped by the Pramac rider. So there's a long lap penalty up ahead. Okay, interesting. So Holland seems to have done the long lap penalty once again. Giulietto seems to be waiting up, so I don't know whether maybe he just waits up when there's no one to battle him. But suddenly, we're in the thick of their battle, and he sort of brake checked me, and we're on the outside through Curvone, which is not where I wanted to end up there. I was just trying to ride my own race, and all of a sudden I've been caught up in their battle. I've now got somebody closing up behind me as well, only 0.9 behind. Whatever they were doing, we're right in their battle now, so if they hold each other up anymore, we can maybe try and take advantage, but it does seem like They've probably got setups on that are quicker than ours, the way they had the straight line speed, but again, a mistake. Again, he seems to be waiting up, so that's put us into the lead. So it does seem like maybe they're playing with me a little bit here. Well, Dippo made a mistake in fairness, but Giulito seemed like he was playing with the others. But now we've got to try and battle Dippo into turn 1. We've tried to make it stick into turn 1, and we actually managed to do it. I ran a bit wide. I thought he was going to cut up the inside of us. I was trying to get it stopped, didn't get it stopped. Thought he was going to cut the inside, but to be fair, he sort of maybe got dragged a bit wide with us. So actually, so far, we've kept the lead into Rio, though. Up the inside, this is where it came undone. Well, not came undone, this is where we lost the lead last time. Misano was trying to hang it around the outside. I'm trying to use as much throttle, use as much first gear as possible, because first gear is pretty treacherous in this game, so we risked a lot to do that. But we've got around the outside of Dippo, so up into P1 once again. And again, just that straight line speed advantage that he seems to have. It must be a gearbox setting or something, because I've seen a few riders now seem to have massive amounts of straight line speed compared to me, but we've got on the inside again using first gear. It does seem to work. I know in this game usually if you try and shift down to first gear it does really unsettle the bike, but I think if you do it when you're already relatively slow it seems to work a bit better. This time we made a bit of a mistake though. We're trying to pick up the power again, but again I don't think we're going to be able to do it. To be fair, there's no gearing that makes that happen. That's just the better line. Then we've cut Cavone, so we're not going to try and make any passes because that would be unfair. It's difficult to try and get Cavone right on the entry. It's a bit blind on approach. And down towards Caro corner, we're closed up again, to be fair. He seems a little bit weak on the brakes in a few sections. Can we try and get on the power? Try and look at the inside into the Bagnaia Championship corner. I don't actually know the name of it, turn 15. But it doesn't look like it. So as we go down towards the Misano corner, Dippo Akbar has fairly and squarely beat us here. But tell you what, we took a battle to some riders that we really had absolutely no business being anywhere near. A 27th again by Giulito. That's absolutely unbelievable. You can see he's not really in the same league as anybody, so I guess that's why he was waiting up. But once again, a pretty good result at San Marino, and a surprisingly clean battle. I've been enjoying the battling in this lobby so far, to be honest. Does seem like maybe the riders on MotoGP 23 are just a bit cleaner than we've had in the previous games. So here we are then for the final race of the video at the Italian Grand Prix for Mugello. Playing as Alex Rins here on the LCR Honda. So what can we do here? Can we try and end the race with a podium? Lights out and away we go. Another pretty good start. So I don't know whether that will have been a jump start. Potentially it could have been. I said end the race, but I actually meant end the session. But of course, again, it would be ending the race with the podium, I guess. Can we try and get podium? Maybe even a win. Probably unlikely. We've been bashed. Well, yeah, it's not happening now, is it? It's crazy how quick your expectation could just drop because we got hit by some Gresini Honda into somebody else. Gresini Honda? Gresini Ducati. I was jumping back about, what, 20 years? Well, I suppose it's been Gresini Hondas for a while, obviously, like the 2014. So about 10 years then I've jumped back there. But either way, a couple of crashes, and we're back up into P12. A long line of riders in front, the whole pack. So, to be fair, crashing at San Donato is not always so bad. You don't lose too much time. There's a crash there out of Borgo San Lorenzo for two riders there. C-Nut, another rider that's not too bad. And somebody else as well. We've been overtaken, though, by Bonic. We've been near him pretty much this whole session so far. Oh. We've passed a couple of riders there. Andy, one of those really fast guys. So we've made a few more places through Casanova and Civelli. But as I was about to say, Bonic, we've been relatively near him pretty much this entire session in both episodes that you'll be seeing of this this same lobby. We've been near him in a lot of races. He's had similar pace to us. The fastest laps are always pretty similar between the two of us. So, but it's nice to see someone with a similar pace to myself, because usually people are either a lot faster or a lot slower. There's never that many people around the same pace as me when I play these videos. But we've got Andy on the Ducati trying to stick it at the inside. Well, I'll tell you what, you can go on the green a bit there, mate, because that was a bit aggressive. I didn't mean to put in quite as much on the green as I did. And oh, we've hit the back of the Pramac rider, so we'll back off a little bit there just to let him have the space. That's twice now in this lobby that have hit people at the back, so we do need to be a little bit more careful. I do feel a little bit bad for that one. I think we might have screwed Andy over a little bit, because I know I put him on the green. I might have maybe got his tyres a bit dirty on the gravel. Not too sure. It's just because he was trying to stick it in an unorthodox place, so I just kept my line. I didn't deliberately push him onto the green. I just didn't shut the throttle and leave him room, which I guess I don't actually need to. I'm not, you know, he's not entitled to that space unless he's really alongside me already or in front of me. He was behind me trying to go for an audacious pass, so I suppose I was fully within my right to do that. But you know me, I don't like to be too aggressive if I can avoid it. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting too high up the order here. Blake King on the Yamaha's crashed as well here at Mugello. He's coming, oh, rejoining the track in a very unsafe manner, but to be fair, he's managed to avoid everyone. It is difficult to rejoin the track at this circuit, especially for the gravel, because you want to keep the wheels turning. You don't really want to sort of have to stop, because it's hard to get going again in the gravel, of course. Greg a bit wide at Correntaio. I'm a bit wide at Correntaio. Lots of people seem to go wide there. In the last lobby we were doing, everyone was basically going in the long lap penalty, but some really aggressive battling going on with the two in front. And now we're... Okay, well, we've just been overtaken by two riders. A crash on the exit of Biondetti for Greg there. So we're in the mix of it here because we've got two really fast guys here, Giulietto and Andy, fighting for like 6th place with us. So it's all been turned on its head a little bit by, I think, the actions of some of the other riders earlier on in the race. So towards the line, Dippo, way quicker than us here, 47 for me. That's pretty much my pace, to be fair. It's not like I got held up particularly on that lap. I just don't really have the pace at Mugello. It's not a circuit I've ever gone well at. It just doesn't suit my riding style. Andy down again, Giulietto off the circuit. So this has been a pretty chaotic race for the fast guys. And Giulietto again seems to be slowing down. I don't know whether he perhaps likes battling with me a little bit. He seems to have just let us through there. And now he's down himself. So whatever he decided to do there didn't really work for him. If we get another rider crashing in front, we could end up in the top 5, to be fair. But that's all we can really hope for now. I can see the podium, but it's just, well, it's actually getting away from me. It's not like I'm going to run out of time to catch them. It's the fact that I can't catch them. So out of the last corner then, it's going to be 6th place here. Not quite the podium that I wanted, but to be fair, we just didn't even have the pace. Even if we didn't get taken out, I think we'd have struggled to finish in the top 3 at Mugello. So there we are then, 10.9 seconds off the leader in the end. So we really didn't have the pace, even without the crash. Again, we wouldn't have quite been up there. Although, to be fair, 46.3 on the last lap for me, actually pretty similar to the guy that finished 2nd. So maybe we could have just about held on. But I hope you guys did enjoy that online video. If you are new to the channel, please do like the video and subscribe. It really does help me out. And I'm bringing plenty more MotoGP 23 game content. So if you like MotoGP 23, this is the best place to be. But like I said, I hope you guys did enjoy that one. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.